Hi, my soul sisters in divorce. My name is Trish, and I'm here to help you take back your personal power after divorce. This message is not intended for those who are in the middle of the divorce process. I understand it's a very overwhelming thing to go through. It's very personally devastating for many of you. And for those of you who are in the middle of it, my heart goes out to you. I'm very sorry that you're having this experience. And I totally understand the uncertainty, the fears, and the anxiety that this is causing in you. And my heart really goes out to you. And I know a lot of you have been abused or either emotionally or physically, and I'm really sorry you had that experience. And if you were the one that took action to end the marriage, you've already taken back a significant amount of your personal power, and kudos to you, and you have my utmost admiration because it really is a powerful act. And so you're on the way, I think, to being your happiest ever. So long as you can learn to let go of the past resentments, and that's a lot of work. I am not a therapist, and I'm not pretending to be a therapist. If you have access to therapy, though, and you've been abused, obviously, I hope you get therapy. I think it's really important because it's a lot to get past. Now, my message is really more intended for women who are past the divorce process and who are now in this place of thinking, what now, right? A lot of us have had our identities like wrapped around the marriage. So you were so-and-so's wife, right? And a lot of us sacrificed a lot of our personal identities to others, being a wife, being a mother. Many of us sacrificed our career ambitions. We sacrificed a certain amount of power by being a stay-at-home mom and letting, your spouse, basically handle the bills and handle the money. That is a sacrifice of personal power, and I know there are good reasons to do that. I am a mom. My daughter has moved out and has grown, but no matter which side of the equation you're on, whether you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, there's a natural tension built into that. So if you're a working mom, you're always regretting the time spent away from your child. It's hard for you, right? It's hard to feel like you missed so much of your child's childhood, and you're perpetually conflicted about it. If you're a stay-at-home mom, it's still hard for you because you have dreams and aspirations that you put aside in order to raise your children, because that conflict of spending time away from your child was just too much. And no judgment on either side of the equation. I think it's hard, equally hard on both sides. And so there's no right or wrong, none at all. But if you were one who sacrificed her career in order to be a stay-at-home mom, it was more than just sacrificing your career, because it did sacrifice a certain amount of power, because money and who earns it can really alter the power dynamics within the relationship. And I'm very, very knowledgeable about the energetic and power dynamics between relationships. I've been on both sides of the equation where I have lost myself and become very needy and desperate. I'm well past that now, but I definitely know what that feels like. And I did a lot of healing to come into a place of self-love so that I will never be that needy person again. So there's that kind of dynamic that happens. And I've also been on the other side of the equation where I felt so suffocated in the relationship that I couldn't breathe, right? That's the flip side of the same coin. Both sides really suck. There is a certain amount of balance that needs to be had within us in order to achieve a state of wholeness so that you're not on either side of that equation. And we can talk about that in future episodes. But right now, what I'm hoping to do is to talk about whether or not you're still sacrificing personal power. Because if you're spending a lot of your time ruminating on all the shitty things he did to you, on all the ways he mistreated you, and all the ways he gaslighted you, and all the ways he was maybe emotionally abusive or withdrawn, where you became more like roommates, If you're ruminating on all of that and your mind is still around him and the shitty marriage you had, I'm here to say you are continuously sacrificing your personal power. And that's a choice you're making. And this really is up to you, right? You can continue to ruminate around the past and all the resentments you have around it, or you can choose to put it down. I liken it to a bag of rocks. You have a sack of rocks that you're carrying. It's very, very heavy, and it's over your shoulder, and it's on your back. And it takes a lot of energy to carry around that sack of rocks every single day. A lot of energy. And you're choosing to do it. And that energy that you're sacrificing, that's all those thoughts, thinking about your ex and all the ways he did you wrong. So what I'm here to tell you is to please, if you can, if you're in a space where you're ready to let go of it, set it down. Because it doesn't just affect your emotional health and your mental health. It affects your physical health. You know, there's lots of studies I could, I was a scientist in my career, and I worked in pharma my whole adult life. And there's plenty of studies where your emotional well-being affects your physical well-being. I mean, starting in the 70s when studies came out that stress caused heart disease, or was one aspect of heart disease, one causal factor. And since then, there's been a whole slew of studies about negative emotions exacerbating things like asthma, exacerbating things like autoimmune diseases. There's a very high correlation between disease and your emotional state. So it's not just your mental health you're affecting, it's your physical health. So the sooner you can put down that bag of rocks that you're carrying, the better. And truthfully, you're giving him your power, is what you're doing. You're giving it to him in your mind because you're still focused on him. And you are, again, voluntarily giving away that power. So the sooner you can let it go, the better off you'll be. So now the next question is, well, what then? And my suggestion is to try to figure out who you are outside the context of him, outside the context of marriage or even motherhood, right? Who are you outside of that? I believe we are our most authentic selves in childhood, before about the age of 11, because that's when your ego comes into existence, in a sense, trying to put labels on yourself to create an identity. That's a natural function of ego. And I remember being that age and thinking, okay, I'm half Mexican and I'm half Canadian French, right? That's one way of having an identity, is your ethnicities. Obviously born in the U.S., and my whole family is born in the U.S. But yeah, that's one identity. But then there are so many others. There could be your religious identity. For me, it was Catholic growing up. There could be, you could be on the political spectrum somewhere. At some point, that comes into play, right? There's left and right, and I don't want to get into politics because it's such a divisive thing right now in our society, and it's causing a lot of chaos. But it doesn't matter which side you're on, but that's an identity we each take on. But that's not who you are. None of those things are who you really are. And so I want you to think back to before all of those identities came into being. And of course, wife and mother is another one, or another two, sorry, that we tend to get into. So go back to before all of that existed. Now, I'm not saying that we should go back to playing with dolls and being little girls, but there are things we liked to do that still, as children, that still carry over into adulthood. For me, I was born obsessed with horses. I'd love to get back into that, and I'm working towards that. And that love will just never die in me. It's a passion I have. And it's always there with me. But I also enjoyed skiing and ice skating, and I have access to that, and you can bet I'm going to be doing that over this winter. And I love tennis and swimming in the summer months. So these were things I just naturally love. And I get out there and I enjoy doing them. But it doesn't have to be a big activity. Maybe as a little girl, you liked being outside, just listening to the birds and watching the clouds, right? So really think deeply on what you used to do as a child that can be pleasurable in your adulthood, and then you start to tap into who you really are. So I'm here to, again, help you learn to take your power back, because I'm 100% certain once you put down the bag of rocks, let go of the past, and then tap into who you were as a child, your most authentic version of you. And there are many other ways to tap into that most authentic version of you. And in future posts, I'll be going into those. But you want to get back to you. And that's how we take the past and then try to work towards a future where we are our most authentic and happiest versions of ourselves. This is all about you. I'm here to help you. You are a very powerful being. You are the creator of your life. And you're a very powerful creator of your life. And you absolutely can have the happiest, best life all ahead of you. I don't care how old you are. Maybe you got divorced at 70 years old. It doesn't matter. There's happiness to be had. There just is. And I'm here to help you tap into that. I'm here to help take that back, so you can be happy and empowered and feeling your best, right? It's all up to you. I'm your facilitator. I'm here to encourage you. And yes, I am a coach. If you want any direct help, I'm here. I'll leave my contact information for you, and I will be here if you want me. I will continue to make posts around personal empowerment and energetic dynamics in relationships, so you can maybe do a lot of introspection and self-healing, because again, this is all about you. I'm here to support you. And that's it for today, my soul sisters. All right, have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in future episodes.